The most rewarding parts of my career have been working for civil society organizations. So, in their textbook, Business Ethics, Crane and Matten define on page 441 a civil society organization as all these voluntary nonprofit bodies outside of business and government that represent a particular group or cause which brings them into contact with corporations. Clearly, there are any number of interests, causes, and goals that these civil society organizations might be involved with, from environmental protection to animal rights, social welfare, urban regeneration, child protection, development, famine relief, or health promotion, all of which could easily pertain to business ethics in some way. So, in a sense, civil society is involved in producing ethics in society. Their organizations, their types of businesses that are founded on a certain ethical principles to serve a targeted group that they feel needs, that's underrepresented or underserved in a particular way. So already we know of terms like charity, a nonprofit organization, and we also know many of the sorts of causes that would be involved here. Many of the larger international civil society organizations are at least as well known as large multinational corporations. We know Red Cross, Greenpeace, Friends of the Earth, the World Wildlife Federation, Amnesty International, and Oxfam. And these are just some of the names that we know as widely as any popular fashion brand. I want to briefly talk to you about why I have enjoyed working in this sector so much. So when I was pursuing my PhD work living in India, I got to work for Oxfam GB on several projects over the years, one of which was to intervene on HIV/AIDS and poverty. These are totally in line with their goals. Oxfam is, of course, a nonprofit organization that operates globally. I got to help develop educational tools to help families talk about issues related to gender identity, sex, sexuality of both men, women, third gender people. Ooh, sorry, some of these are quite explicit, but they're meant as dialogue guides for community-based workers. So one of the ways that we would use these cards would be, sorry, some really quite explicit. One of the ways that we would use the cards is to train community-based workers and community-based organizations around the country so that they could use them to help people have these important, difficult discussions. Now, I want to continue a bit because I want to mention another side of this. Civil society organizations such as these can range from local neighborhood associations and religious groups to powerful national level lobbying organizations. You might know that, as I just mentioned, Oxfam would work in partnership with such local neighborhood groups. I've also had the chance to volunteer for lots of groups that were interested in intervening in HIV/AIDS by targeting transgender people or men who have sex with men as high-risk population groups based on epidemiology, that is, the study of the spread of disease. And so working with those in partnership with those organizations, both I was well-placed due to my own activism in these areas in the past, and having a master's in public health that focused on communication and research and also fieldwork empowered me to do this. I want to mention here that Oxfam is also originally a religious-based organization. They were founded by a church, as I understand it, here in the UK, and they grew to less focus on the religious aspects. They've never truly focused on proselytizing as we know them as a community-based, as a charity organization globally, but those certainly are their roots. And so one of the ways that we translate all that we do with outreach into lobbying is by working in partnership with research organizations. So with the same activities, we could work with a research organization to publish research about this that will be picked up by the government there and help them to justify why certain groups need greater attention. And that's exactly what happened in the case of HIV/AIDS and the many organizations such as Oxfam that were working in this sector, to the extent that the government does allow itself to follow the science on HIV/AIDS in order to join the cause in halting it. You may want to work for a big business one day, and I want to give you the hope that social enterprises like these, social enterprises, charities, are all ways that we can get involved in civil society and both combine our drive to build a more ethical world with our drive to work and make meaning of the skills and opportunities that we have before us.